Okay, we're starting off the day with the review for the test. The test is tomorrow. This is a condense problem. You're going to try to condense this down into one log. And remember, the directions are condense and simplify. So, because some kids weren't done with the first problem yet, I decided to actually give you another problem to work on, because some kids are done with the first one. And that's an expand problem. So this one, you want to expand it and simplify, just like on the other one. There's always the and simplify. And tons of kids on the test will expand it, but they'll forget to simplify it. So, when you condense this thing and got it down to one log, I would have personally done any math in steps. I would have put those two together, and I would have put this 2 away up onto the x squared before I tried to combine any logs. Then I would have put them together into one log, just these two. And this x squared and this 5 would be multiplied, 5x squared. And then I would have considered this, and you could start a whole nother problem over again, but I don't think so. I could just say, since I'm now subtracting, I'm now dividing by 5y. And right there is where a ton of kids would make a mistake, because they would stop right there. But did you remember, since I emphasized it over and over again, cancel out the 5s to simplify it? All right, good. That is condensed. All right, how about this one for expand? Well, first thing I would do is one step at a time. I would do the top, and I would break that into 2 logs. I would have log base 4 of 5 plus log base 4 of x to the 3rd. And it's so hard to remember this, but that little 3 needs to go out in front, or you haven't expanded it all the way. And then this is a divide, which again is a minus. And now this is where you got to be careful with, I would put parentheses around it and then put the log. You don't have to, but that negative has to go on both the 2 and the y to the 4th. So this is log base 4 of 2 and log base 4 of y to the 4th. And then this negative can be distributed to both of these. And that 4 needs to go down in front. So now my final is, this was all correct, log base 4 of 5 plus 3 log base 4 of x minus log base 4 of 2 minus 4 log base 4 of y. Oh, I don't need a parenthesis at the end there. And I think I've got it, but how am I going to check? I'm going to look at my arguments. Now, I kind of wish, if I had it to do over again, I would have made this into a 25. If I would have made that 5 be a 25, then right here you would have to break it up into 5 squared and move the number to the front, but I didn't, so it's okay the way it is. And now I'm looking at the argument here, nothing to break up there. Looking at the argument here, nothing to break up there. Argument here, nothing to break up there. And there's somebody who knows the last step. If you're thinking, can't that be simplified? You're right. There's something for the last step. And I could totally see a lot of you are like, what are you talking about? That was my answer. Expand and simplify. Did you even think about how that could be 4 to the 1/2 power? And that means this whole thing is equal to 1/2. I can tell you didn't think of that, did you? 2 is 4 to the 1/2 power, isn't it? 4 to the 1/2 is the square root of 4, which is 2. Would we have anything in that hard on the test? Absolutely. So when I kept on over and over again saying, and simplify, look for stuff like that. this could be a 4 to the 1/2, which makes this whole thing be just 1/2. And it's no longer all that, it's just 1/2. So there is expand and simplify. It'll say it on the test too, and simplify. So look at each term. Like, can I do that with this? No, because you can't make 4 out of a 5. You can't make that into 4 to a power. There isn't any power for that. Can you simplify this one? Nope. This one? Yes. It was a 1/2. This one's a y. It looks a lot like a 4, but this is a y. So, all right. I know I got a few people on that one. I didn't want to get you, but it happens all the time. People forget to simplify. Okay, what else is on this test? Oh, there'll for sure be something like this. Log base 3 of x plus 3 and plus log base 3 of x Nope, not a 2, sorry. This has to be a 4. There we go. Now, this one, you can follow this rule. If you can condense it, you should. You can condense that left side, so you should. Then, you can take out the logs. There'll be logs on both sides. And then it'll be down to a quadratic. Quadratics have to be set equal to 0. Which means if you can factor it, you should. These are beautiful problems because they make you understand how to condense logs, understand that you can take out logs, understand how to solve quadratics with factoring, and then usually one of the answers is extraneous. We'll practice this again if we don't get like 80% of you getting this right. I'll pause for a sec because this is critical for this chapter. Okay, so the condensing part is right here, and I get it down to 1 log base 3 of x times x plus 3. Those can be reversed, and then the other side's still log base 3 of 4. Once you have it down to 1 log on each side, these are not canceling, but I do that to make you realize that that has to equal that. This equals this. I'm multiplying it out. And some kids will get stuck right there because in the end, it's algebra issue. They don't remember you got to set them equal to 0. Okay, so we got x squared plus 3x minus 4 equals 0. Then you got factors like this. Then you got x and a plus and a minus because that's negative. And then I got to have a 4 and a 1, and I think I've got it. 4x, negative 1x makes 3x. Yay. X equals negative 4x equals 1. And I kind of cheated by reminding you that there was an extraneous, but some of you still won't have caught it. That one doesn't work because you can't put negative 4 here or here, but all it has to do is fail in one of them, and it fails. Can't have a negative in the argument, and that total is a negative. So it's out. So there's both of your answers. Yes, you have to list both of them. One of them's crossed out, and ideally, if you really want to show you know what's going on, you write ext. Feel like you got that part? All right. Do you want to do another one like that? All right. There's several people nodding. We should do one more. And if you're good at it, awesome. You'll just practice it. You'll get even better. Okay. So log base 5 of x plus log base 5 of x minus 3 let me make sure I did do this right. Not a 3, sorry. An 8. And then this is going to be a log base 5 of 9. precalc, where you have to know 5 completely different things before you can get to your final answer. Okay, step 1 is to condense these two into one log. Log base 5, x minus 8, and log base 5 of 9. Then I can ignore these because there's only one log on each side and just say that must equal that. X squared minus 8x equals 9. Subtract 9 from both sides because you have to set it equal to 0. X squared minus 8x minus 9 equals 0. X plus and a minus because that's negative. Got to have a 9 here and a 1 here, double checking myself. Yes, that does work. I just multiplied it out quick. X equals negative 1. X equals 9. Danger. One of them feels like it might not work. Yep, right here. If I put in a negative 1 there, it would fail immediately. And just to be extra careful, I'm going to put in the negative 9, or the 9. 9 works in there, and 9 also works in there, meaning it doesn't cause the equation to have a negative argument. Okay. So there's my 2 answers. One's extraneous. You feel like you got this now? All right, good. Then there's another kind that looks a lot alike, but is different. Log base 2, x minus 1, plus log base 2 of x equals 3. Now, the fact that it doesn't have a log on the other side is going to make you at some point get stuck. And I hope you remember, whenever you're stuck in logs, it's probably about getting rid of the log and doing a rewrite. I'll pause for a sec while you give this one a shot. And warning, this one might not factor, in which case you'll have to bust out the quadratic formula. Yes, we expect you to know that if you can't factor it, that the quadratic formula is how you do that.
From the log 2.
It's not 3 because you can't just ignore it because it doesn't have a log, so you can't just.
You are correct that we can't just cancel off this log because there isn't a log over here. If there was logs on both sides, you could ignore them, but there isn't. So what do? I warned you that you might get stuck, and then you should rewrite it. 2 to the third equals all that. And what is 2 to the third? You should know that one. It's 8. And then basically just do algebra from here. So that's 8 equals x squared minus x, and then you'd subtract 8 from both sides. And we could get lucky enough that this thing factors. I kind of expected it not to factor. Did anybody find a way to make this thing factor? Okay. Because I can set it up. I can go, I know it has to be x and x. I know it has to be a plus and a minus. And then how do I make something here and here that will make a negative x? I don't think there is a way. Okay, so then this is where the quadratic formula comes in. So if this was the ACT test, they would have given the answers in the form of x equals negative b, which is negative of negative 1, which is 1, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is negative 1 squared, which is 1, minus 4ac, 4 times a is 1, times c is negative 8, all over 2a, and just 2 times 1, which is 2. And so then they would have just simplified this down and said 1 plus minus square root of, there's 2 negatives on the inside here, which makes it plus 1 plus 8 times 4 as 32. So I think it's 33. Anybody else get 33? All right. If you got that far, you would have been able to pick that out of the multiple choice lineup. There's your 2 answers. Now, if you really want to go extra deep, when you subtract this square root of 33, you'll get an answer that's negative. Do you get negative answers? Would kill our original log if you have a negative number there. So technically, that part does not exist. That would be an extraneous answer because it would make your answer negative and can't have that. So I would probably list them both and cross off the one that was negative. That's probably a little too far for your test. We'd probably just make it factor. Okay. All right. So here's one last one where a ton of kids are going to goof this up. I would like you to expand and simplify. It's got a little bit of everything in there. You're gonna have to do some adding, some subtracting. Power rule will come in. There's a simplify moment. There's a reason we end the year with this stuff, because it makes you kind of review tons of little things. I put my base in when there's no base. I don't know about you. It helps me to see things, like when things will simplify and stuff. Some kids will get this far. They understand it at about a C level. Some kids will remember that that is 10 squared, and therefore this whole thing is 2. They caught one of the curveballs. Some kids will remember to drop that into the front. 2 log base 10 of x minus log base 10 of 3. And some kids will have carried their negative through to both parts like you should have. Negative log base 10 of y. And some kids will know that you got to check it one last time to see if it's expanded and simplified all the way. Can I expand or simplify that? No, it's already simplified. Look at the arguments. That's as clean as it gets. I can't expand it or simplify it anymore. How about this argument? I can't expand or simplify it anymore. How about this argument? I can't expand or simplify it anymore. So then I'm good. That was the expanded answer. But there was a couple of little chances to goof up. Yes?
If we left the one with the 2 as like 2,
If you had left the squared on it right here, it would have been wrong.
no, the other one.
The other one.
The one
This
that's
one?
like just 2. Yeah, we would have left it like.
I think what you're about to say is, if I would have left it unsimplified, yeah, you can't, you gotta simplify it all the way down. Like, did you find something simpler than 2? No. So you can't leave it not simplified. You gotta know that you gotta, if the base, it's all about the bases. If the base matches the other thing and you're like, oh, those can both be 10s, you gotta look for that and you gotta simplify it all the way. So I can't think of any other way you could have left this answer that would have been more expanded or more simplified. So I'm pretty sure there's no other right answer. Yes?
Is it fine if you prefer to use parentheses and then just factor in the negative?
If you had left this, well, just to clarify, if all I do is put in parentheses here, now I did it wrong. But if this was a plus, now, I honestly, I'd have to talk to a colleague because I think you're supposed to have it all the way done. This would have been a good like intermediary step, but then you're supposed to distribute this negative to both parts. So honestly, if that happens on the test, I'll check with another teacher and say, what do you think? Should we mark it wrong? So it's better to just make them both negative, and then I won't have to even question it. All right. So now you have a review, which is in this class. So nice. I'm telling you, when you get to the higher level classes, they don't give you a review that's just like the test. We do. So your review is just a lot like your test. if there's any problem that stumps you, the scary part is, it's probably gonna stump you on the test tomorrow. So dig in, figure it out. There's a key, ask me, I'll be happy to help. That's all I got for you for today.